you're in control. For the Manukau and Waitemata harbours, northeast 15 knots, rising to 25 knots, gusting 35 late evening. For the Hauraki Gulf, northeast of 15 knots, rising to 25 knots. Bring head to Cape Colville, northeast of 15 knots this afternoon, rising to 25 knots, gusting 35 knots early this evening, and 30 knots gusting 40 knots late evening. High tides at Auckland 2:55 this afternoon, high tides at Onehunga 6:07 tonight. For Auckland, partly cloudy, the odd shower then rain tonight. Downpours and thunderstorms possible overnight. We're looking for a high of 17. Currently we're sitting on 15 degrees at News Talk ZB.
The only place to discuss the biggest sports issues on and off the field. It's all on Weekend Sport with Jason Hyde on your home of sport. News Talk ZB.
Hello, kia ora, good afternoon and welcome into the Sunday edition of Weekend Sport for June 16. Happy birthday, Akira Yawan and Phil Mickelson. I'm Jason Pine, Mark Kelly, show producer today. We're here talking sport until 3. We have got our Super Rugby final locked in. They just need to give it a touch. Xavier Roy does it. And for the second time in successive seasons, the Chiefs are headed for the grand final. Yeah, I'm not quite as excited as I sound in that commentary clip. They'll play the Blues at Eden Park next Saturday night, the Chiefs. So well done to the Chiefs. Terrific win over the Canes last night. It'll be the Blues against the Chiefs for Super Rugby supremacy in 2024. Going to break that down for you after 1 o'clock. Hope to get the chance to chat to Clayton McMillan, head coach of the Chiefs. Keen to get your analysis as well. Meantime, the Warriors still can't break their drought against the Storm. Championship underway. We're in Germany to assess prospects for the month ahead with German-based football writer Sebastian Stafford-Bloor. Conrad Smith with us this afternoon as well. He's been refereeing grassroots 17 holes, a 3-shot lead from Mathieu Pavon, Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay, who are all in the clubhouse at 4 under the cut. Ryan Fox earlier today firing a 6 over 76 in his third round. That has him in the share of 66 at the Auckland Airport. Three football's jammed up this afternoon, so a few games to keep an eye on. Please get in touch, whatever you like on the show. We would love to hear from you. 0800 80 10 80, get you through on the phone. That's a free call. 9292 if you would prefer to correspond via text, or you can send us an email. Jason@newstalkzb.co.nz. Coming up 11 past midday. Super 8 stages without New Zealand's involvement. Losses to Afghanistan and the West Indies have put pay to the Black Caps' chances. They accounted comfortably, of course, for Uganda by 9 wickets yesterday, and they'll complete their tournament against Papua New Guinea in the early hours of Tuesday morning. One of the great New Zealand all-rounders is Chris Cairns. He played 62 Test matches, 215 one-day internationals and 2 T20 internationals for the Black Caps in a career which spanned from 1989 to 2006. Perhaps his finest moment was at the final of the 2000 ICC Knockout Trophy against India in Nairobi.
sort of had a look at over the last 10 years, you know, this is an outlier, right? So performance-wise, I think New Zealand at major tournaments over the last several years have been tremendous. They've been excellent. So given the preparation or lack of it, and given what occurred, how quickly it was, I don't think you can dig too deep into this. I really don't.
A lot's been made of the lack of warm-up matches ahead of the tournament. How much difference might it have made if they'd had a couple of pre-tournament hit-outs?
Oh, a huge amount of difference, because you had guys as well who were at the IPL but not really playing. I mean, there was, you know, a few guys who were there for quite some time, you know, sitting on the sidelines, and you can't beat match club. I mean, you can net as much as you like, you can practice as much as you like, but if you're not sort of match fit, then you know that makes a huge amount of difference. And then also those rainouts at the beginning of the tournament. So you know, again, I come back. And given the nature of how quickly this thing turns around, yeah, I personally don't think you can look too much into this. I mean, I just think it was a performance that doesn't belie sort of where New Zealand's been at over the last 7 years.
So it's an outlier then for you, Chris. It's nothing too much to worry about. So what should we take any lessons from it though? How should we move forward here?
Yeah, I suppose you've got to prepare. I mean, the lessons really are just if you get in that situation in a tournament in the you know, in the future, you know, what do you do? But you know, given the nature of you know the things that were out of their control, like weather, and that's a huge thing. And then you know, guys that they just look rusty. You know, even with the bat and the field, especially in that first match as well, which again is an outlier for a New Zealand team. So you know, you can analyse these things to the nth degree, but I just really don't think it's worth it in this scenario. Well, the big thing now though is that you've got the likes of Southey and Bolt and Williamson, some key players coming towards the end of their career. So you know, you're looking at contingencies now and sort of moving forward. I think the talent ID aspect and what the team's going to look like, I think that's more prevalent to sort of analyse the performance of this World Cup.
Have you got a gut feel on what that might look like beyond some of the players that you talked about?
I think not really. I think that look, I mean, Bolt and Southey are still going tremendously well, and you know, and again, Williamson just keeps churning it out. So whether they've got a couple of years still left in them, you know, only they know. And so, you know, I think that, you know, I'm sure Gary said now we'll be starting to plan for the future. And we saw, I think, during the home series last summer, you know, there's young talent coming through in the bowling department. You know, we need to identify and bring forward a replacement for Williamson. I mean, you know, that's going to be extremely difficult. I mean, he's a once-in-a-generation player, so people are going to have to start stepping up. But I do think that there needs to be some planning now, sort of, for, you know, going forward for the future.
Might the days of the three-format player be coming to an end? Might we see more specialisation?
Yeah, maybe, you know, possibly. I do think, you know, in time, you know, as the riches in the IPL increase and players place a premium, you know, on those contracts, just purely because the value of them, you know, you're going to see that naturally appear anyway. I think, mate, you know, as the IPL season grows and sort of gets bigger and a team or two gets added, you know, that to me appears inevitable. So you're going to have players that perhaps, you know, are focused on that T20 element, just purely from a financial point of view, because it just makes sense. And you know, that's going to pose all sorts of problems from an international point of view, and how those sort of games and how the season continues and what that sort of looks like. So over the next 5 to 10 years, yeah, cricket's going to transition, I think, quite significantly.
Yeah, what can you say? What is your crystal ball telling you?
I think cricket could end up like soccer, like football, in that, you know, the season in India, as I say, will just get bigger because of the financial windfall and benefits that occur off the back of that product, which is an amazing product. It's a great brand. It's a great competition, and I just think that will get bigger and stronger. And then if you've got one or two more leagues around that, you know, guys will be making a significant income. So then I just think that what will occur, you have windows for World Cups, windows for international matches, but primarily cricket will become sort of a domestic orientated or dominated game around the world, much as like soccer does. And if you look at the biggest leagues in the world, same breath as those other sort of mega leagues. So
yeah, and look, just hearing you talk about that, it makes me think about our domestic cricket competition, the New Zealand domestic cricket competition. If the best players are all off playing in India and other places, what might our domestic competition look like in the future? You know, Northern Districts, Central Districts, these teams.
Yeah, I think there'll still be windows and chances for people to play there, but you know, ultimately it's going to be a nursery to sort of bring young talent through to then sort of get onto the international stage. But the international stage being big domestic leagues, and so look, but as I say, it's a while off yet. But you know, for me, it just seems inevitable that that's going to occur, and that's why I think it's really important that also from an Indian perspective that the riches that are sort of gleaned from IPL are sort of passed through and supported in places like New Zealand, where whether that be through academies, whether it's investment into the game to bring the talent through, because it's important that we have international talent, or that they have international talent to sort of boost their league and to have the best players in the world playing in it.
Is it also inevitable, Chris, that more and more players will opt out of New Zealand cricket contracts in order to play franchise cricket, and then, I guess, make themselves available if and when required?
Yeah, I totally agree, and very much like just on a match fee basis. So you'll have again like soccer, like football. The English players will play or are paid for by their league teams. But if they internationally, there's a match fee, and so yeah, it just flips with regards to what the priority is and what dominates. And so that would just be the case for World Cups or for any other matches. Players would just simply have a match appearance fee.
All of these T20 franchise teams have a specialist coach. Do you have a view on splitting the coaching responsibility between international formats? Yeah, again, that's I suppose it's excuse me, it's hard. I think to have somebody giving that much time up and what they're doing, and then sort of cutting their salary in half effectively to sort of switch that over. I don't really think there's a need for that in New Zealand and internationally. I think we produce some pretty all-round human beings, and I think from what Gary said, I mean, he can cut across all formats, and I think New Zealanders would be more than capable of being involved in multi-formats and sort of maybe having a couple of different changes and support staff, but I would support having the head coach across all formats. Do you think the future of Test cricket is still bright?
Yeah, in the short term. But again, if somebody is earning significant amounts of money contract-wise in the IPL, why would they jeopardise that security, that future, to sort of injure themselves bowling 30 overs or 40 overs in a Test match? And again, I just pose these points and these questions because for me it just seems a logical evolution of where this thing goes, and that if somebody's not going to injure themselves playing Test cricket when there's a significant contract on offer playing T20 cricket, so and you can't blame the players for that at all. I mean, they need to look after themselves, families, security, and so that's the demands of Test cricket are the ultimate in our sport, but again, the contracts and what's on offer will dictate where players go.
Yeah, so are we only really a generation, Chris, away from a bunch of cricketers who never play Test cricket? Never play red ball cricket, never pick up a red ball at all? That is a scenario.
I'm a huge Test match cricket fan because again, like I said, it's the ultimate in our sport. But that's the sport comes down to what the fans want and what the public want. And if that's T20 cricket, well then that's where the investment goes. And again, that's just a fact of life. And but I don't think we need to worry in the short term. I still think it's there, but I think you're right. And in a generation, we could well see the demise of it.
So interesting. Well, I've got you. Be remiss of me not to ask about your ongoing rehab. Saw some awesome footage of you walking unaided in late April. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's good. Thank you. It's a challenge every day. And it's a new journey that I'm on, and this is this is by far the biggest and toughest battle that I've ever faced in my life, and so you just have to, you just small gains. It really is just a day-by-day thing, and will I walk again? I don't know, but what I'm trying to do is give myself the opportunity to be in a position to be able to do that, and with the technological advances and everything that sort of goes with it, and a stubborn attitude,